What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. Because baby, the cause don't stop when the clock hits zero. It's all about the cause. That's how you got to know us. Hashtag the cause. Because our cause is always going on. Whatever we do, whatever we want to do, it's all about that. And you know what time it is. It's 9 o'clock Tuesday nights. We hope that we have a lot of participation. Hit that like and subscribe button. Punch it like you really mean it, Italian Stallion style. Definitely. It's summer. It's summertime, man. And it's all about them dreams of what you want to accomplish this upcoming school year. What you've been doing in that weight room. What you've been doing outside that weight room. Are you getting them reps in your sports that you're playing? Whether it's tennis, whether it's golf, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hooping it up. It's all about that work you're putting in right now. I ain't saying don't have a good time, but at the same time, you got to be working just as hard because the opponent might be doing just twice as much, if not more. So you got to be prepared. You got to be ready. And it's always about that cause, baby. Just remember, it is that cause. And we don't even have any scoreboards lit up. And the clock is definitely at zero. There is no clock. So what you do right now is getting you ready for the game when it starts. So remember that. But, tonight we've got a fun show, lots of stuff to talk about. Going to talk a little West Rebels football pancake breakfast. Going to talk a little basketball. Going to talk a little, who's going to camps and who's doing their thing, showing out, making their next cause at the next level, but also getting prepared to win things like these that are in the background, trophies. That's what we collect at West. We're trophy hunters. We're banner hunters. That's what we do at the W on 3300 Sutherland Avenue in the heart of Marble City. We're also going to talk a little NBA Finals. How's your team doing? How's your predictions doing? We've got some Stanley Cup Finals. We're going to talk some College World Series baseball. The Vols, one of 8 teams left. Going to be an ACC versus SEC showcase. We're going to talk about that. We'll even talk a little wrestling if you want to talk about that boring stuff. But we're good with that. That's what we do here on Rebels with a Cause. Most importantly, I do want to just shout it out like we do every show that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or West High School. It is simply the RWAC, the Rebels with a Cause crew, myself, two pair, Shane O'Mac. These are our opinions and our thoughts and no one else's. So just remember that, guys. We're also want to give a shout out to my gal. I actually want to give a shout out to my boy, Alex Thatcher, a West Rebel grad of class 2003 with his Knoxville Coffee Company. They make a great brew right there in the heart of Marble City off of Sutherland Avenue. Go pay him a visit. It's good any time of the day. And also got to give a shout out to my gal, Miss Kim Castle over at King's Chamber there off of Washington Pike. She always gets your Italian stallion ready to go, whether it's a beard trim, a wax, a facial, manicures, pedicures. It's all coming together. So definitely give her a call, pay her a visit. She'll definitely get you worked in some way or another there at the chamber, making you feel like royalty at King's Chamber. Well, without further ado, wherever you're at, whether you're watching live or recorded, I want to give a warm welcome to my co-host, my brother, the Mr. 2003 West. That's what he is. That's what he will always be. He is a true rebel with a cause, being that voice of the running Rebels and Lady Rebels basketball for 18 plus years. And I know he's excited for this upcoming season and just bringing you so much action and love when he's on that mic. And he is the hardest working guy that I know. Always, always has that cause going, gives everything he wants 100%. He's definitely somebody to look up to and follow because he does it with nothing but love and from his heart. Without further ado, wherever you're at, in any part of the area, live or recorded, give him the respect he's owed. The one, the only, my brother, two pair Tate, Brian Tate. What is going on, man?
What's going on, man? Good to be doing this again, man. And just looking at I was looking over here at the West Side Pancake Breakfast and seeing the turnout, and then we had the golf tournament as well. Like, just it's really cool, man. Like to see, your alma mater having these events that went on Saturday, June 8th, last Saturday. Yeah, eight from like what 8 to 10.
8 to
So
10. And let me tell you this, bud, I don't know the official number of how much money was raised, but I was there. I donated. I want to give a shout out to my number 45, Davis Neely. I wish it could have been more, brother, but that was from me, my heart, the Freeman family, to you in your honor and so forth. Ball out this year, just like you did last year. And I'll do it every year for any player that wears the number 45. That's
that's
my
pretty dope,
donation.
man.
Yeah, dude, that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
my love.
dope. That's
That
really
is my
dope.
love. That is the W. That's what this is
That's
all
dope.
about right here. So simple
Yeah,
as
that's
that.
really what it's all about. Like to be able to
Yeah.
give back, you know what I'm saying, to the kids, man. That's really cool, bro. Like that's really dope that you do that for every player that wears your number and the
My
number
number.
that your dad wore.
And the number that my dad wore at Miami Edison.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Wow,
yep. Honest.
that's really cool, man.
Yep. Yep.
So before we get into the West Side Talk,
Yeah.
did you see did you see that post about the Miami team had they
Oh,
not scored
yeah.
touchdown?
Yeah. It's like a
That was
crazy
really
stat or
that was
something
a
like.
crazy stat.
Yeah, and you see, I remember that they did score a lot of defensive touchdowns.
A
I know
lot.
that they had shutouts. They had special teams. I mean, they had Philip Buchanan, or oh, I forget his name. I guess
Well,
it
no,
was
Santana
Philip
Moss was gone
Buchanan.
by then.
Yeah, Santana Moss was gone by that team, but Philip Buchanan returned punts. I know that
Philip
Frank Gore
Buchanan
returned
was
a
a
kickoff.
problem.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, they were just loaded. So they'd score offensively, defensively,
Yeah.
special teams. But they said that if the offense did not score any touchdowns, they would have gone
Hmm.
8-4 with that schedule. You
Yeah,
said,
that was kind of
"Oh my
unbelievable
God!"
to see. Yeah, that was really unbelievable to see. When I saw that, I said you were the first person I thought of when I had seen that. I seen that stat, and I was like, I wonder if I wonder if James has ever seen this.
No, I think that I had seen something in regards to draft players, uh, the amount of points that were done, yards, and things like that when they
Right.
compare the greatest of all time teams. But realistically, can any other team say that? Like for example, a lot of people
No,
have thought of 2019 LSU that was an amazing offense. Don't get me wrong, but
I
their
just don't
defense
think
was never that good. Their defense,
their
they had to
defense was
outscore teams.
okay.
Yeah, so.
Their defense was okay. Their offense is really what drove that. But when you looked at those Miami teams, um, man, just to like those lines, like you had Vincent Wolford,
And he was a
you
backup.
had
He was a backup two pair on that
oh,
team
that's right,
because he was a true freshman. I mean, they literally started Jerome McDougal, Matt
Jerome
Walters, William
McDougal, yeah,
Joseph, and Andrew Walters as their first string. And then how crazy is this? You literally bring in a whole four new guys, and the four new
yeah,
guys are Jamal Green, Vince Wilfork,
Vince
Santonio
Wolford,
Thomas, and then Cornelius Green. So that was they
Cornelius
rotated
Green, yeah.
8 guys in that defensive line. Your linebackers were DJ Williams, who was Mr. Everything at De La Salle at the time,
Oh my
John
God, Jonathan
Vilma, yeah, Chris
Vilma, yeah,
Campbell. I mean, they
Chris
had some
Campbell. I remember
dudes.
they
Yes.
had some dudes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were dudes.
Yeah.
Like there was a difference. Like and when I saw it, you were the first person I thought of. So when I posted it, I'm glad you said something on it.
Oh yeah.
And it just was like the immense talent that there was. I was like, dude, I
Hmm.
didn't even realize that with those teams. But
Oh
I
yeah.
was just wanting to I was wanting to say that before we get into our college football talks because I think we're hitting off with um some West news
Yeah.
that
Like let's talk about that real quick. And
there's
and
been a
like
lot
you
of
said,
coaching changes.
there really
Like
has. There really has. I mean, honestly, like if you and listen, anybody watching, please chime in. This is your opinion. We appreciate the love and everything. Don't be a
exactly.
stranger out there, honestly. Yeah, I mean, two pair last week, it's crazy.
Mm,
You got to go back 2 weeks ago. We had no idea that there was going to be a boys basketball coaching change, and there
none.
was, and there was, and then on top of that, you have now a a baseball change now, and we talked about the
Baseball
basketball
change.
change, and now there's a baseball change. And I basically just want to update everybody of what exactly happened per se.
Happened. Yeah.
And basically, the boys' baseball team was coached by Mark Allen Bounds. And he had been there for
Mhm.
a couple of years. And anyway, had a very passion commitment to baseball. He was really trying to grow something. The boys' baseball team was competitive this year, but just played in a bloodbath of a district that
They
is not
did
only
compete.
they did
They
compete.
did compete. They
I mean,
competed.
e-
But
when you're in Farragut, who's like not even the best team in the state, they could argue the best team in the country.
the
Honestly,
country,
the country. Okay,
the
that's how good
country.
Farragut baseball is. Finishing their three-peat, their coach leaving for greener pastures. They just promoted their assistant coach. But anyway, apparently that the West baseball coach wrote this as his resignation to what happened of why he's leaving West. It is with mixed emotions, difficult consideration, and God's guidance that I have decided to step down as the head of baseball coach at West High School. I have
Mm.
truly enjoyed working with the players, coaches, and administrators at WHS. I will be pursuing a career change outside of baseball, out of the baseball world, and will not be able to commit to the duties that are demanded in the head coach role. My hope is that the goals and aspirations for the program will not change and that the families and players will rally around the next head coach to continue to push the program to new heights. Sincerely, Coach Bounds.
Mm.
Very gracious. Life happens, you know. And we've seen coaches that had to leave because of spouses, like Dylan Rozier over at Central, and they were on top, winning back-to-back titles. And you see coaches kind of come and go as it does. And I wish him the best in this career change. And I just have faith in Paul Romero will make a great hire for these kids and what they've got coming back, and hopefully establish a culture like what you have in football and in basketball, there at the school. And that's what's very important with all the sports teams, because I really believe if you have culture, if you've got a program, not just a team, a program,
Absolutely.
and you've got the support. And we'll talk more about that pancake breakfast in a bit. But I'm just saying that if you have the support that you do from the parents, from the players, from the students, from the administrators, and it really is the One West slogan and mantra that we go by, you can do anything in any of the sports and be competitive. And so my thing is that I have faith in this administration to make a good hire, and let's see if this baseball team can, make a region tournament, or, maybe
Something.
sub-state something. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
something of that sort. And when you look at how football has progressed, and you know what, we need to give a shout out to Randy Fields,
Yeah, we do.
who hosted Goal to Goal with Coach Brown after every game. I watch those like Hard Knocks football. Like
Mhm.
Randy Fields, we got to give him props on what he's done with that. But the way the football team has been the powerhouse of the state for the last 2 years, basketball for the boys, they've been one of the better teams in the state. When it was looking like it, West
Mhm.
was playing great basketball at one time, and I think with the coaching change, hopefully we'll be able to get baseball on track as well. Because West has been had great baseball players to come through the school.
Mhm. I
It's
mean,
not like it's
look at Serrano. Serrano's kid, Parker Serrano, is
Parker
in
Serrano.
the College World Series with who he plays baseball for. So Parker Serrano's a West High grad, technically, because he went to West while his dad
Was
coached
coaching the ET.
at UT. Yeah. So
And you really thought, like, I ain't gonna lie, I thought Serrano was like the perfect fit for UT after Todd Riley.
yeah, yeah.
I thought that, you know what I'm saying, he was just a better
I
fit. But
I thought Serrano would be what Vitello's doing right now for Tennessee.
yes,
Yeah. It
yes,
just came 10
me
years later.
too.
Yeah,
Me
it
too.
just came
That
10
that's
years
that's
later.
why, yeah, that's why I'm sporting the orange right now,
Oh,
sporting
you
that.
got to, man. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
like realistically, can you name me the last Tennessee team to win a national championship? in any sport. Give me any sport.
Women's basketball.
Yep. Very good.
That'd
Candace
be the
Parker,
that'd be the
2008.
that'd be the last one.
That'd be the last
Like
one. Softball
Candace
fell
Parker,
short. Yeah. Yeah.
softball has fell short,
Yep. Yep.
and it's sad because they've had great teams with
They
Monica
really
Abbott.
have. Yeah. I mean, that
They've
was a
had
waste.
like great teams, and I
Yeah,
don't
they
get why
should have
they
won
don't.
that one. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
even last year, even this year, not even to get to the College World Series. I mean, it was clear Oklahoma and Tennessee, or Texas rather, were the two best
right,
teams. But the problem
right.
is you were the 3 seed and you didn't even make it to the College World Series. You got bounced
Twice,
by Alabama at home. And
twice,
that's yeah,
twice.
twice. Yeah. I mean,
Is it
that
twice
sucks.
now? It
Twice.
was 2 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they played the longest game ever, and that
ye-
game lasted 2 years almost.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it
that was
really
a
feels
difficult.
like that. So,
Yeah, it does feel like that. But you're right when you say that. But getting back to what's got to be done at West is, I think with all the coaching changes, I feel like I don't know where basketball is gonna be. I really don't, and I'm kind of nervous with it.
mhm.
Just because if you go with Eggleston, I think he's the right fit because he's been with the guys, and it's
Mhm.
like, but there's Shane Reed who has been with this group, who
Mhm.
coached this group the year before,
Mhm.
who knows the plays and knows the ins and out of what they like to run and what kind of action they want to get into. It's like you want to make that decision coming sooner than later. Because
Mhm.
if we get into summer league and you can just see guys just not being receptive, it's gonna look bad in the regular season.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And if you really think about it, um, I see why you say that because we've talked about, at length about what we have coming back talent wise and what it could be, especially with what other teams have lost this off season player wise. Um,
Absolutely.
and so there is a lot of question marks. To finish up with baseball.
Finish up with
As
baseball,
we've
yeah.
said, as we've said though with basketball and football, the facilities are there, man. The
They're
facilities
there.
are there. The baseball stadium is immaculate. They've got a big screen themselves now in that
Hmm.
scoreboard. They have a
Hmm.
batting cage facility. They have their own locker rooms. I mean, I remember when poor Coach Lindsay had a portable like that was
Trailer.
brought a
A
trailer. It was a
trailer.
trailer. It was like
It was
it was a
horrible.
trailer, and that's where the guys literally changed and so forth. And basically the away team had to use the gym, like the gymnasium locker room to change
Gymnasium.
and then walk right out to the stadium for the away team. And so
How
now you have a
horrible. How
facility.
horrible
Yeah,
was that?
that's
That
what I'm
was
saying. Yeah.
we've come a long way from that,
Long,
man.
long,
Like
long
that's why, like, we've come a long way from where it was to where it is. And where
exactly.
it is, it's like you be a fool not to want to coach at this school and get the players. Like baseball, it really hurts baseball, man, because we've put in good, we've had, what I'm saying, great players to come through and play baseball at this
Mhm.
school. And looking at the facilities, you just say to yourself, how come West isn't a baseball school like the Fair? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Farragut is a whole different beast.
Yep.
Like they have a tradition of that's what they do.
Yep.
Where we've become the football school now.
We have become the football school,
We've become the football school. We weren't the football school.
No.
We were the track school.
Yeah, we
We
were
were
the
the
track.
tennis school.
Yeah.
We were the
Golf.
soccer school, the
Golf.
golf school.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Swimming.
mean?
Swimming. I mean, so yeah.
Swimming,
Yes.
swimming.
So yeah. I
We're
mean,
that school.
yeah. And now we're
That
football.
school.
We're football. We're a
Now we're
football
the
school.
football school. Now we're the basketball school. We're the school that you're talking about because
Absolutely. With athletes. Yep.
the
Players.
alumni. I really do want to give props to all the alumni that shout out this show. You know what I'm saying? From your ABs to your Mike Morrows, you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like
Troy Smith,
guys like that, the
Michael
Troy
Lynn.
Smiths. the Michael
Terry.
Lynn's, the Terry
Yeah.
Maples, the
Yeah.
Scott Aldersons. Like, bro, we interviewed Big O.
We did.
You know what
We
I'm saying?
interviewed Big O. We interviewed the mayor of Maynardville, T.J. Blakely. So I mean, come on. So yeah, and
We've had some
realistically,
guys.
we've
We've
had some
had
guys,
some
and we're gonna
guys.
have more. We're gonna have more. I mean, I know that I'm trying to set something up with Coach Mark Giles, who's over at Farragut, but he was a class of '94 team, and I have actually
Yeah.
asked him to not only have his own show, but also be a part of the panel because he was a coach. He played on the '94 squad, and he did coach the 2013 team that was a state runner-up, and the 2014 OGs that won the first state title. And we can have
Yeah.
that discussion of who is the best West team in school history up to this point.
And there's a bunch of guys that I would love to get. Avery Boss Graves. We got to
Mhm.
get Avery. Diedrich Elder,
Yep.
Brian Durrell.
Mhm.
We definitely got to get our athletic director Paul Romero sometime
He's
this
got to
summer.
be on there. I know
We got
Nathan
to work that
Cottrell.
in.
Yep.
We got to
Yep.
work with Nathan Cottrell would be
Yep.
great.
We got to get Brandon
Anthony
Bell on
Bennett.
here too. We got to get Brandon
Oh
Bell, an
wow,
actor, for
Brandon
goodness sake.
Bell.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
Brandon Bell would be big. Chad Davis.
Yep.
Chad Davis would be great.
Yep.
I mean, guys that I played with: Stuart Oaks,
Mhm.
Brian Stanford, Amos Colbert.
Yep.
Um, man, like Kazra, Talib
Mhm.
Hadiport. I played with some guys, man. Like I played with some really good ball players. Spike McCamey,
Oh, old Spike. I liked
Rand
Spike.
Thomas.
Rand Thomas. So yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
So
Michael Courtney. But like my all-time favorite teammate would probably be it'd probably be
yeah.
Cash or Chad. You
Yeah.
know, Darius Jones. That was one of my all-time favorite teammates. I thought, man, Darius Jones is a great ball player. Isaac Wilson. Shout out to Isaac Wilson, who
Shout out to Isaac.
I
So
think if Isaac never got hurt in football, I think he hurt his knee in football
he did. That
because he
hindered him
was a
in
phenomenal
basketball.
basketball.
That
Oh my
hindered him. He
god,
was just an athlete. He played a lot of that.
yeah,
I think wasn't he a tri-sport guy? Didn't he do track too? Like I mean, I
he
think
did
he did
track.
3 sports. So shoot, like I mean, that's just crazy. So
But
um
like
oh
my
go ahead,
whole
bud.
middle school, like from middle school to high school, Isaac is like one of the he was the most aggressive and talented kid I ever played with. Like
Oh, he
just
was
like yeah, he was man. Isaac
I had
Wilson
to go
is
up
so
against him in
good.
linebacker drills. I had to go up against him in linebacker drills. I mean, that was the linebacker unit. We knocked heads. We all knocked heads back
Oh
then.
man,
So,
y'all
so
had a
yeah.
unit, and the funny thing is, I was playing when you were leaving.
That's right. I was on
So
my way out.
I was playing when you were coming on the way out, and I think I was either gonna wear I think I had to wear like number 37, but I wanted number 45 because I
hmm
knew you had wore it
Yep,
or
I had wore
whatever.
it. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I had wore
So
it,
and
and
then man I broke my wrist in a scrimmage and missed that whole summer, man, and it really it set me back in basketball too because
because you were
I
going
wasn't
into your senior year and
in
everything.
year,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
And like that summer, my junior, I probably say my sophomore year going into my junior summer was the best summer I ever had. You know what I mean? Like far as where I wanted to be body wise, my mind, school wise, like that was like the best summer, and AAU wise too. You know what I'm saying? It was the best for me. Like that summer going into my junior year, um, it kind of molded me for what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to talk about that pancake breakfast, and I want to give some shout outs to the guys working hard. Whether they're going to camps or they're doing their thing. They're in you know on their own time, whether they're working with private coaches and so forth. They're putting the work in because I know they want this three-peat. It
Shout
wasn't
out
really
to my
talked
man
about.
Elijah Gardner.
Elijah
Man,
Garner, shout out to him.
Elijah
So
Gardner, you've
yeah,
been putting in work
yeah, you have.
every week. Every week I
I
see something
mean,
on Elijah Gardner.
Yeah, I
every
mean,
week.
he
It
missed
is
a
like,
camp. Yeah, he missed a camp because of some car trouble, but man, he's putting it out there. Like he really, that's how you got to do. You got to promote yourself, and that's one of the things, you know, not only Big O, but Troy was saying that that you got to put your own stuff out there. You
yeah,
can't, count on anybody else doing it for you. You got to market yourself. You got to market that
right.
cause. That's the thing. So,
Yeah.
um,
You
I,
gotta market yourself because he's
oh,
doing it, man. It's
absolutely.
like he and then people he tags.
Oh,
Like he's
yeah.
tagging you, he's tagging me, he's tagging these other coaches, he's tagging players. He's the type of guy that I know is a leader just from the way his approach. And that's
Mhm.
why I'm like, I really think he could be the starting quarterback. I mean,
Absolutely. And
I just my it's nothing against the other guys. Like I think Dubon would do well as a starter, but
mhm.
the type of leadership this dude is giving on social media, the type of way he's responsive to every event. I'm pretty sure he was at the pancake breakfast.
I think he was. Realistically, they did it in shifts where some
Okay,
players stood outside
yeah,
and greeted everybody. Then
that's
there
what I
was a
thought.
nice table of moms that took your ticket or sold you the $5. I mean, it was $5, and two pair. When I tell you that restaurant was full, like, I mean, you ate, they wanted you to talk, but realistically, that restaurant was full. I saw families coming in with little kids, and if everybody was $5, I mean, and you got two pancakes, you got a serving of eggs and a couple pieces of bacon. You had your choice of a drink, I mean, coffee, juice, whatever, and literally they took care of you. And what I'm saying is it was $5 a person. They had a little tip jar if you wanted to tip the players, which would go to the event in general. And then if you wanted to make a
Mm,
private donation, like what I did, you were able to do that as well. So the point I was trying to make is I talked to one of the coaches who I ran into later that day, not even at the breakfast, and he agreed with me and said it was probably one of the biggest turnouts. And he's been with the program for a few years now. Like he said, it was the biggest turnout. And so I don't have a dollar sign. If we do have a dollar sign, the next time I'll report it. But then, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, then you had the golf that, you had Romero there. You had Dr. Spees, you had Coach Brown, you had parents and players there
I
representing,
think I
and that
think
was raising money
Romero
too. So,
I
yeah,
think Romero might go down in history as the best athletic director of West Side. Like
he's done a lot in
it
2 years.
he's done a lot in 2 years. And in 2 years, don't get me wrong, I like what Poisel, you know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
love Poisel. Poisel was good. But I only think Poisel was there for what, a year?
He wasn't there long. I mean, obviously, Carruthers has done it too, and so forth, and been a great athletic director as well.
Oh,
Um,
correct, of course. I think Carruthers as an educator,
as an
period.
educator, oh, he was one
He's
of my
he's the
favorites.
best educator. He's the
Yeah,
best educator, period.
yeah.
Like he's grown he's grown like young men. And I ain't really think of it like that. Like we're like a reflection of him
Yeah.
in so many different ways. And it's like, damn, I didn't know
Do
I
you
was
know?
gonna be a reflection of my educator.
Speaking of teachers that were at West when we were there, do you know who I've heard so many great things about? And unfortunately, as everybody knows, I did my freshman year at Beard, and I was a sophomore through senior year at West. And I feel like I missed out on having this guy because I've never heard anybody say one bad word about the teacher. I didn't have him personally, but Lou Gallo over there at
Lou
West.
Gal, oh, I
Lou
love
Gallo,
Lou.
okay? And I
Oh
didn't
my
have him,
God.
but I've
I never
never
had him
heard
either.
I- I've not heard one player or one student, guy or girl, ever badmouth
Never.
Lou Gallo, ever, ever.
Celeste White.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Celeste White. There's a few. Coach Carruthers,
hmm
Celeste White,
yeah.
um, Coach Pecco, Coach Orlando. I loved Coach
God,
Orlando.
I miss Coach Orlando too.
I
Yeah,
miss Coach Orlando.
Petco and Orlando were solid. They were great dudes. Honestly, my two favorite teachers per se. Um, I actually enjoyed economics with Coach Lindsay. I learned a lot in that class from him, and that's why I did so well at UT in that economics class I had to take. And then Carruthers for psychology, sociology. That was one of my favorite classes under him that I took at West. Honestly, so much
Yeah.
so that like in driver's ed, you had to pick like a class when you weren't driving or whatever like that. I was in his class just to be in there again and hear all those lectures, and I help him grade papers. That's a fact, by
Who
the
was
way.
that with
Carruthers. When I was
brother?
with Coach Wilson and we weren't driving, they asked, "Well, what
Yeah.
classroom would you like to be a part of during that?" Because you couldn't just walk around the hallways or whatever. And so I said, "I want to be in Carruthers'
Uh,
class," and he said, "Yeah, come on in." And literally, I graded papers and laughed at all the stuff all over again, and got to
I
take it
took Miss
twice. So
I took Coach Ash's class, and it was pre-college English. So that was the class I sat in. Shout out to Coach Wilson, man. Like he actually taught me how to drive.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
rest in peace.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Coach
He taught
Wilson.
me how to drive too. So yep. So yeah, I mean, but
Can
there's
I
just
can I tell
certain.
you something
Yeah,
crazy?
go ahead, man. Yeah. So
I turn. Do you ever look back when you turn? Like, do you
yes, point to
when you
decide.
turn? Yes,
Point to decide. Yep. Either poo
I
poo
can
or get
turn
off the
this way,
potty. That's what he used to say. So yep.
and I just hear him saying, "Hello, Fuzzy." Like this is horrible driving, and
Uh
you know what
huh.
I'm saying.
He looked at me and he was so funny. And I mean, now you'd obviously have to watch your mouth because you might offend somebody. But back then we were a little tougher. And I swear, like he'd look at me and he'd go, "Now what were you doing right there? It's clear this car is going to come and it's going to T-bone you. I mean, what were you thinking?" And I go, "I don't know, coach." And he says, "I know what it was. Drugs. You're a buffoon. Don't do it again." And I was better for it when he said it like that.
Oh
Honestly,
man, yeah,
drugs.
bro.
So
I love that man.
I love that man.
Coach Wilson, man. I love that man. I love
Yeah,
that man.
yeah,
And I will say it's crazy because I really wanted to play football at Central. It's
yeah.
funny to say that now because
Hmm.
that's who I grew up playing football with.
Hmm.
And when I got to West and I got the football camp, you won't believe this. I was like slot receiver, tighty. I played so many positions
Hmm.
in that first year, but I just didn't. Man, nothing against Coach Witt, but it just was like they act like what I'm saying. Quarterbacks don't throw bad passes. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like that's what I was dealing with because you asking me to make a play on a non-play and get killed over the middle.
Hmm.
Nah, bro. Like,
Especially when you
and
got a linebacker right there ready to just crack you like you've never been
crack
cracked
you.
before. So
Yeah.
honestly,
So
yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I took one of the toughest hit I ever took was in Harriet, Tennessee, scrimmaging Ray County.
ooh,
Yeah, yeah. It's to this day I remember how it happened. Alan Wallace floats the ball
hmm,
like and then nothing against Alan. Alan's a good dude. It's my guy I graduated with,
mm,
but the pass was over my hand, and I got long arms, so big
hmm,
hands. So I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? He threw it up so high that it like grazed the tip of my hands, and Coach Witt was like, "It touch your hands, you catch it."
hmm.
I'm like, I'm going to go get it. I'm like, man, I was like, throw the ball to me again,
Hmm.
bro. I did not drop a single pass in camp after that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they did
Like,
protect the quarterbacks. I mean, they did protect the
no,
quarterbacks.
man.
I remember one time they did a drill and basically they determined whether you were an offensive lineman or a wide receiver. And if the pass wasn't there, you were deemed an offensive lineman or something like that, whether you could catch it or you had speed or what have you. And I was just like, I'm not an offensive lineman. I know I can catch the ball. That's why I played tight end. The problem is that nobody cares about a 5'8" tight end. You need to be 6'4", 6'3", big dude, and so forth. Now
Yeah,
they
and
want
wide
six
receiver.
seven. Now they want 6'7" or 6'8"
Yeah,
catching that. So
And you know what I'm
But
saying? Like,
yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, I'm a decent athlete. You know, I say this every time. I'm a
yeah.
decent athlete, but with some of like the coaching and skills development that is out now, instead of having to do everything on your own back then,
Hmm.
like gosh, you just think about how crazy it could be. And I look at guys like the old days of Corey Anderson and Austin East as like a man child.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a man child. I go back and watch some of those football games, I'm like,
Hmm. Yeah.
and like there's a reason that guy played in the SEC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
Like
sure.
it was a
Well,
reason.
Well, and I think about like, I mean, obviously, a lot of people were always like, "Oh, well, you know, you went to Bearden and all that and so forth." But somebody needs to look always at Chris Ernst over there at Bearden. I mean, I want you to think about this. This guy had over 100 tackles and he had over 1,000 yards, and literally took Bearden to that point, to the farthest they really had kind of gone, second, third round of the playoffs. And his cousin did the same thing, Vincent Nico, and both their plaques are on that wall of fame at Bearden, just outside the gymnasium. And so, I think about Chris Ernst, and I was like, man, he could hit. Like, he was a big dude. But I think that's impressive that you're playing two-way football and you got over 1,000 yards, excuse me, and over 100 tackles. That's just sick. That's sick.
That was wild though.
Yeah,
Like he was really that good, man. Like
it was.
he was a name. And then another guy that we don't talk about, Torrey Turner.
Torek Turner. Yeah, yeah,
Torrey Turner.
yeah. He was sick.
How good he was sick.
He was, and he was on that team too. They were in that same class. I mean, that class for Bearden was probably one of their better ones, up until like Devin Young and all them came along and so forth like that. They were
I feel like
solid. So, yeah.
Devin was another animal at Bearden.
Hmm.
Like
He was.
Devin Young was a whole nother animal. Like I remember just watching this dude. Like Devin was a hell of a football player.
He
Hell
was.
of a football player.
He
It
was.
was like he carved up West. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, he
Like
did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No,
he
he.
used to carve up West.
Yeah. All.
Was that the last? Was
Yeah.
that the last time like Bearden was beating West? Was Devin?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, because realistically, we actually shocked him in that 2010 team. They were supposed to beat us, and then that 2010 team beat them pretty good at Bearden, and then they used that run to get all the way to take on Shaq Mason in Columbia Central in the coldest game
Right.
ever, and lost 7-0. Shaq Mason plays for the Patriots, or played for the Patriots, and he got Super Bowls and played for Georgia Tech. So
Yeah.
my point is that, like, if West had somehow found a way to beat Columbia Central, West wins the state title the next week in 2010, but it wasn't meant to be. We had to go through all those trials and tribulations. That being said, though, when West won that 2010 game, they won in 10, they won in 11, they won in 12, they won in 13, and they won in 14. And what's so interesting is that Bearden took West off the schedule. They didn't play
Mm,
us in 15 or 16, and then they put us back on the schedule and beat us
mm.
in 17 and 18. But they have not beaten us in football since 2018. West has won 19, 20, 21, 22, and last year 23. So we've got five in a row
Wow.
at this point. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So,
Wow.
but
That
yeah,
is wild. That's a wild stat.
yeah, absolutely.
Because I
I
remember
also want to
like
give a shout out to Adarian Bryson too. He was at that camp with Elijah Garner, and he's going to be a
okay.
defensive lineman player for West. So got to give a shout out to him, and also Devin Martin, like you mentioned. You got some Devin Martin news. He got some big news over the weekend. So
Man, Devin Martin's getting offers like crazy. I really think that's a tribute to his work ethic. Just looking at some of the schools that have been offering him, and he just fits what a lot of these schools are looking for, man. And let's see, let me pull up one of them. I know school in Kentucky is very high on him. And I think he just really has a had. He's got to have a summer where it's like, hey, look, I'm one of the best players in the state, and the only way they prove or he proves that he's one of the best players in the state is how he comes back after this summer. His summer, he's got to have the summer like he had his junior year,
That
like
next
going
step.
into yeah, yeah, like the way he came back from summer heading into his junior year, you saw an improvement. You saw the three ball. You saw the footwork got better. You got to see him on the low block. You got to see him running the show a little bit, running point forward. You saw him play as one of the best players in the district. Now let's put it as one of the best players in the state. Like you're good in the district. We know what you can do in the district. What are we gonna do when it comes to state level? Are you like an all region player? Are you an all state player? Because he's got the pedigree, you know what I'm saying? Great family. Uh of course, uh who his mom is, who his dad is, you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Their UT pedigree of excellence, mother in track, dad in football. Like the Martin family is a very, very prestigious family, man. Like what they've done for West is just incredible, man. Like they really like parents you look up to. You know what I'm saying? If you're a young adult parent right now, like these dudes, they do such an incredible job at what they do for their sons, going to this school, man. So let's get it in. West basketball. Let's see. I'm gonna look at a few of these
Yeah, go
ones that he
for it.
has
Go for it.
because I want to say the Kentucky school is looking out heavy for Devin right now. Let me see. I think we talked about it before. Oh, Johnson University. Johnson
Johnson University.
University.
Okay.
We may have mentioned that one before, but yeah, Johnson University. They're pretty high on them, and you know, got that offer. He's been getting offers like crazy though.
And he did pretty good
Uh,
at this camp this weekend. This at Gov's men's basketball elite camp that he went to. He did really well there. He put some highlights up there on Twitter. So shout out to him on that one as well. I also got some shout
dope.
outs. Dominic Davis. Getting ready for that senior year at tight end for West. He is putting in the work. So is Riley Mannon. Um, I saw Parker Dubon working with his quarterback coach, putting in the work. I mean, all these guys know what's expected of them. Shout out to Tavion Ray as well, getting his spring scrimmage highlights out there. I mean, definitely, guys. You got to just keep working at it because the season's going to be here in 2 months. Two pair. If you think about it, that first game with Bearden is right around the corner. Honestly, it'll be here before we know it. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's dope.
yeah. I also wanted to, just mention too that I'm proud of how the players acted also during the pancake breakfast. Very respectful. I wish them good luck, as always and so forth. And just know that turnout was for you. That's One West. That's what that's all about.
That was
And,
awesome.
your coaches already have got you guys ready and so forth. You just got to just walk the part, do what's expected of you, and go out there and win another one. Honestly, show that you can win another one and make your own story because that's what it is. Every season is a story. And, it's that cause. It's that cause. What is your cause that you're going to do and leave it out there, baby. That's what you got to do. Simple as that. So, yep, yep. So, yeah, but
Also, in quick NBA draft news, real quick NBA draft news, real quick NBA draft news.
please do. So, yes.
Tennessee wing Dalton Connect, ESPN's number eighth ranked prospect, has received a green room invite to attend the NBA draft with his family.
Wow. Wow. So
Yeah.
that means he can,
A
he's
source told
yeah.
ESPN.
So basically, it's pretty much guaranteed that he is going to be a lottery pick because they wouldn't invite you if you're not going to be a lottery pick, pretty much. So
That's pretty dope though, because
yeah,
I bet they weren't gonna go to the draft. If anything, Dalton Connect would be one of the types that watch it with family and friends.
I could see that. I could definitely
Yeah,
see that.
like
So
I wouldn't. Oh man, his suit gonna be so mean.
hmm I wonder
His
who's
suit
going to.
gonna be
I wonder what he's going to go with, or who's got the agents probably taking care of all
ooh
that and everything. So
ooh
yeah,
ooh. If he wear like a smoky gray with the orange tie,
with the orange, I mean, it would be very slick. It would be
ooh.
very
Oh
slick, that
no,
brand.
check this out. What if he hit it with black and orange
That would
and
look
be
good.
and be and be drafted to San Antonio?
Yep, yep, that would look very good. So
That would
I'm
look
going to tell you this:
good. That would
if
look good.
is the draft on a Thursday? I'm trying to remember. Drafts are on Thursday nights, right? Or I remember it was
I think
Wednesday
so.
night back in the day. I remember, I
Back in the
swear it was a
day.
Wednesday night back in the day, and it was in Madison Square Garden,
Yep.
and those
Yep.
fans would be rabid wolves if the Knicks didn't pick anybody damn good.
Anybody.
I remember Ronaldo
Anybody good.
Bachman got booed off the damn stage like nobody's been booed off before. So
They treated him like an Apollo. That was so sad.
they did,
And that
man.
man, because they seen him ball out in the Garden with South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? In the
Yeah,
NIT,
yeah.
NIT, he went crazy.
He did. He did. They
He went
also, if I
crazy in
remember,
NIT.
he upset Tennessee in the SEC tournament too that year. If I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
correctly, he had a really good game. That was Bruce Pearl's
But
first year or something, I think, or maybe it was his
mm,
first year. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Huh? Yeah.
was
Um.
this? You said it. What was his first year?
Yeah. Was it Bruce Pearl's first year that they lost to South Carolina in the SEC tournament? If I'm not mistaken. See, our stat guy couldn't make it
What
tonight.
year?
Otherwise, we'd have
What
Shane.
year? What year was this? His first year?
That would have been 2006. That would have been March of
Uh
2006, that SEC tournament. So,
that was a good man.
yeah.
I am stumped. I do
Yeah.
not know
That
this.
would
I
be a
am
shame.
stumped.
Our guy Shane's out tonight. He'll be back next week. Just want to give him a shout out. He couldn't make it tonight. He hated it that he was going to miss it, but he'll be back next week, sure enough. So, but yeah. But I remember Bachman had a really good game for South Carolina, unfortunately. And, you know, Tennessee at that point was really trying to become SEC tournament basketball champions, and it just wasn't in the cards that season. But it was still a fun year compared to where they were with Buzzball the previous year. And then, Bruce really making it fun to be a Tennessee basketball fan again.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
You
What
know,
a great time.
speaking of basketball,
Yeah.
two pair, let's talk about these NBA finals, man. I'm gonna first. I want to give you a shout out because you definitely know basketball, and I
Why would you
actually,
say that? Why would you say that? Why would you
well,
say that?
I'll say that because I think I completely underestimated the Celtics because of maybe who they were playing against to get to this road. I thought the Mavericks were going to be the
Mhm.
better team. But what you brought up was the deep guard heavy play of the Celtics that they can just throw a plethora of guards at Kyrie. And Kyrie's not the
A
biggest dude,
plethora
a
or a
plethora.
plethora.
A plethora, yeah. There's the
A
Spanish
plethora.
first
A
language. Like sometimes I
plethora.
mess it up. So
A
yeah, a
plethora.
plethora. So yeah.
Plethora. Oh man, we got
Hey,
to get that on tape. We got that on tape.
real quick. Follow it up with this. Perdóname que español fue mi primer idioma y a veces eso se pasa cuando yo trato de hablar inglés. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. So, but
That's a clip. That's gonna go viral.
a
That's gonna go
plethora.
viral. That's gonna
Uh,
go viral.
wait a minute, real quick. I'm going to throw up the W so we remember that plethora. So there you
A
go.
plethora.
But they're just throwing like just a group of dudes. And Kyrie's not the most physical player. Kyrie's very finesse. He can get in the lane, but they're throwing bodies at him. And I even at one point saw Jason Tatum on him. And Jason Tatum is a legit 6'8" guy and has those
Yeah.
long arms, and literally is staying with him and is a really great defender. As much as everybody talks about Tatum's offensive skills, Tatum can defend when he wants to. And realistically, it was almost like Tatum wanted to have this challenge. And it's like, you're not coming in here and doing your BS. And he's poking the ball away. And so Luka brought it. But I really feel that Kyrie has not done his Robin to the Batman of Luka at this moment, or they're interchangeable, however you want to call them. But at this point, I think that the Mavs lost a bad opportunity and not getting that 1-1 and stealing one and flipping the home series back to the Mavericks because of the fact that the
Mm,
Celtics came out shooting so poorly and the Mavericks really should have done more. And then it was just, the Celtics adapted and did what they needed to and ultimately won by 8 solid points the other night and so forth. At no
mm,
point did really I feel that the Mavericks were going to come back in that fourth quarter. The Celtics had that lead, and that was the end of it, and so forth. But I just wanted to give you a shout out because you did mention the guard heavy play of the Celtics being a potential hindrance and factor against Kyrie and Luca that maybe the Wolves and the other teams didn't quite have to throw at those guys. The Celtics are very guard heavy. And Porzingis came off the bench and had the game of his life or did great with those
oh
18
my
points in the
God.
first game and made that a runaway.
How
Now,
crazy was Porzingis to
oh my
game one?
God. I mean, and that was what was missing from the Celtics because if you think about it, if they had Porzingis the whole time, I'm willing to bet that maybe they sweep the Cavs as well as what they did with the Pacers. So, yeah.
I believe they would. I believe they only lost. I believe they would have only lost one game, and that was to the Heat.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. And
They
then the
they're
Heat weren't even
just
at full strength either. That's the sad part. So,
no, they weren't. The
yeah.
Heat didn't have Terry Rozier. The Heat didn't have Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. I mean,
so
it was just
this
falling apart.
finals.
Yeah.
But that's what I was saying. I was like, dude, I think Boston, man, the matchups favor Boston because Boston was thinking they were going to play Denver. So it's funny because Boston matches up well with Denver
Mm,
too.
yeah.
Like they would have matched up well with Denver too.
Hmm.
And they would have matched up well with Minnesota. It's
Definitely would have
just
killed OKC. Definitely would have killed
would have
OKC.
killed OKC.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's their time.
It is. It is. I mean, and for as much flack as Brad Stevens, Joe Mazzulla got last year, this is the biggest middle finger back to all their haters and critics. Honestly, people were talking
Oh
about
my
getting rid
god.
of Mazzulla last year for losing to the
Yeah.
Heat and so forth. And it's like, guys, the Heat weren't just your regular 8 seed.
They
They were
weren't.
solid.
They
They were
weren't.
solid last year. I mean, they were.
They weren't.
Um,
They
yeah,
weren't.
yeah. I mean, and
Like they
the
went
amount of
crazy
hate, yeah, and the amount of
because
hate that was given.
they had shooters shooting at the right time. Cause
Mhm.
look, Miami, Miami had a Max Strus hitting shots crazy. Miami
Mhm.
had a Gabe Vincent who was hitting
Mhm.
shots crazy. You know where those two guys went to?
One of them went to
Cleveland and
Cleveland,
LA.
and they didn't do anything there, which was crazy. So I don't know if again it really is heat culture versus everywhere else because there were
Hmm.
times where people were even saying the Heat definitely missed Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. Well, guess what? Gabe Vincent and Max Strus also missed the Miami Heat in their culture because they ain't getting the coaching at those two places that they're at now,
No, they're
honestly. So,
not.
you know, um, but that being said, I think it is the Celtics' time. I'm hoping that the Mavericks maybe win one, if not two, in Dallas to maybe get our 7 game series. But I hate to say it, if nothing changes in game three, I could see this being easily a gentleman's sweep or a sweep. And I don't even know what the health status of Porzingis is. They said he got a little shaken up in the last game, so I don't know what his availability is. But if Porzingis can go, then it's a wrap. And I'm going to tell you another guy that I want to give a shout out to for the Celtics that is just ageless. And I knew he was going to be a good player in the NBA, but I didn't think that he'd have the longevity that he's had, and that's Al Horford. Al Horford is
Tito,
ageless, man.
Tito
He is ageless, and he.
Horford.
Whew, I mean, if you would have told me who I thought was going to have the better career of longevity in the NBA between him and Joakim Noah and Corey Brewer, I actually would have gone Corey Brewer. To be honest with you, because Corey Brewer was amazing in that 2007 Final Four. But that being said, Horford's still the one playing from that back-to-back Gators team, and
Yeah,
going to be an NBA champion if they continue with what they're doing right now. Honestly,
man. How cool would it be for him to carry the flag of? Well, no, Corey Brewer's got an NBA
he
championship.
does have a Corey.
Forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Corey
Udonis
Brewer
Haslam.
has
Udonis
one.
Haslam has one by being with the Heat too, as well.
The
So 'cause
Heat,
he was
Let
before,
me
but he
see.
was still the Gators.
Who else?
Mike Miller. Mike Miller was a
Mike
Gator that was on the
Miller.
Heat. Yep, they got an NBA.
Jason Williams got one from Florida.
Yes, he did. So
Yeah, because he got one with that Heat squad. Think about that.
yeah.
Jason Williams went to Florida and Marshall.
Hmm.
Won his first and only championship with the Miami Heat. Wow.
Yep.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and they all ended up like on the Heat, like Udonis Haslam and Mark Miller and all those or Mike Miller
Mike
rather,
Miller. Mike
yeah.
Miller.
I
Yep.
mean they really did some great stuff there
And
with the
Mike
Heat.
Miller and UD played together in college.
Yeah, they were roommates. They were
Yeah.
sick. Just a sick amount of
Oh
talent
my God.
that Gators team. So, yeah. And that was Billy Donovan, man. Billy Donovan, like I'm telling you, he could coach in college. So,
Oh
um
man, goody.
But I mean, what do you think, too, Perry? I mean, do you think that this series is over, or what? I mean, what do you think at this point? Is it just too early to tell, or because I'll tell you this: if the Celtics win Game 3, it's done. But if the
You
Mavericks
think
win
so?
Game 3, yeah, I do. I mean, maybe
You
I'll
think
put it to you this
so?
way. I'll put it to you this way: if
You don't think there's gonna be any drama? No drama at all?
there'll only be drama if the Mavericks win Game 3. If the Celtics win Game 3,
Got you.
I truly believe that the Celtics might let the Mavs have Game 4 just to celebrate on Game 5 in Boston Garden and give Boston their first championship since the Red Sox, I guess, did it a few years ago in baseball. So, just to give the
Yeah.
fans that thing, because the last time the Celtics won it was what, when the three amigos were there, Garnett,
Eight.
um,
Oh eight. Oh
yeah,
eight.
Pierce, Allen, and Garnett.
It's
So,
crazy because they should have won way more.
oh, they should have. So, yeah. Well, and
They should have won way more.
that's what I think was such the hating thing of Boston towards when LeBron, Bosch, and Wade started their three, and so forth. I mean, and realistically, it it's amazing to win one, but you're right.
Yeah.
They should have won more. They should have won more, especially with who they were going up against, and
If KG doesn't get hurt,
they win two probably. So
they
for sure,
win two. They
yeah.
don't lose to Orlando.
No,
They
no.
don't lose to Orlando. Orlando was good though.
They
Orlando
were
was
JJ
good.
Redick and that team, and that's when Dwight
Yeah.
Howard really cared about basketball at that time. He really
I think
cared.
he always cared about
You
basketball.
do, you do,
I think he just got hurt,
yeah.
and then I I don't think he ever quit caring about basketball. I think he got hurt, and
Hmm.
if Dwight Howard doesn't get hurt, I mean, he was a generational like talent.
Hmm.
Like the stuff that he was doing, you know what I mean? Like,
You know what the rep he got though, and it's so unfair because we're guilty of it. We compare everybody. That's what we do as a
mm,
society.
mm,
It was very unfair that he got compared to Shaq. They were two complete different
completely
players.
different players, two
Complete,
different players.
you
But
know.
Shaq was always, he was harder on Dwight because he felt like that was the rite of passage for all big men. He was
Hmm.
like, because it was done to him,
By
he was just
Kareem and all
passing.
them. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
passing it on, man. Like
Yeah.
he was never attacking Dwight. He was just, like this is this is what they held me to. I'm holding you to that standard.
Mhm.
If you know what I mean. And I don't know if what I'm saying Dwight was receptive of it at that time because Dwight was doing things that close to not winning an MVP. I mean, he was
Hmm.
one of the he was the best defensive player in the game.
Yeah.
He was a force.
Yeah, and you know what? He was kind of the last of. I also think that he did well in the era that he played in. You have to play in the era that you play in, but
Yeah,
I think his game would have even excelled in the '90s, going up against the Hakeem Olajuwons, the David Robinsons, the
yes,
Ewings, when
yes,
centers were a very big part of the game. Because somewhere along the way, after Howard, the guys that are just in the middle that don't have a 3-point shot, they don't make it in the NBA. I'm going to give you a name
mm-mm.
right now. In college, he was unbelievable. In high school, he was the next big thing. But he'll always be known as an NBA bust, Jahlil Okafor. He was once upon a
Jaleel,
time coming out of Chicago, the dude. And
the dude, he was.
and he was on that Duke team that won the national championship in 15
Yep.
as a
Shout out to
freshman.
Quinn Cook. Shout out to
Quinn Cook,
Justice Winslow.
yep,
Shout
and
out to
Tyus
Grayson Allen.
yeah, Tyus Jones, but
Tyus
seriously
Jones.
though, all those guys are still in the
Mm,
league, but Okafor is not. And he was the number one player coming out of high school. And, I don't know if you remember that story, but people were just absolutely destroying Phil Jackson because Phil Jackson wanted to draft him with the Knicks, and somebody in the front office stepped up and said, "Absolutely not. We're taking Kristaps Porzingis or what have you." And then Okafor, I guess, ended up with Philadelphia, and basically Philadelphia had three big men, and it was Nerlens Noel, Okafor, and oh God,
indeed.
Embiid. I mean, geez, I mean, it's like, what do you do with three guys like that, and so forth.
Dude, that was a lot. That
Yeah.
yeah, dang,
And
I
Cat,
remember
and
that.
look at Carl Anthony Towns. He's evolved his game, and Cat was the number 6 player that year coming out of high school, but yet he has shown to be one of the better draft players from that draft or what have you. Cat, Carl
Man,
Anthony Towns, and how he's evolved.
Cat
So,
had. I feel like Cat did not have a great uh conference finals.
no,
Like if Cat plays well, the first two games, he just he didn't find it until what game like four.
game 4, and that, and realistically, he had an okay game 5, but the Mavericks just they wanted it. And here's another thing too. I mentioned before in past shows that the Mavericks weren't your ordinary 5 seed. Like they were a team that we thought could get in there.
Oh yeah, after the
Because
trade
of the
deadline.
experience.
Yeah, after
Yeah,
the trade deadline. Yeah,
absolutely. But
but
my
not before the trade deadline.
Not
Not
before the trade deadline.
before.
No,
Not
no,
before
no,
those trades. No,
no.
no,
And not
no.
to
They
mention they
didn't
didn't
have it.
know, and you didn't know if Kyrie and them would gel. But I will say this, and maybe I'm overstepping, they could come back and win the whole thing and make me eat crow. But
If they came back and won this whole thing, like,
you got to take 4 out of the next 5.
dude,
You got to take 4.
do you know how bad it looks on Boston?
Hmm.
It looked bad on
Then
Boston.
the criticism,
If
then the
they lose
criticism would
this
be there.
way, dude, they would not be able to show that.
Mm-mm.
If Boston, think about it, they lost a game 7 in the conference finals last year.
Hmm.
If they lost a game 7 to them dudes after they came back in Boston,
Hmm.
mm,
Hmm.
think of think of think
The
of think of Mark
criticism.
think of think of
Yeah.
think of Mark Cuban legacy. Think of Jason Kidd's legacy. Think
Hmm.
of Luca and Kyrie if they come back I'm
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then that means that also the legend of PJ Washington and Derek Lively grows as well, being the younger guys on that team too, the
right,
legends of those
right.
guys. So,
They
yeah.
start then guess what? You have like that, not that Golden State aura,
Hmm.
but you got that Dallas. Like you how sick would Jerry Jones be
Hmm.
if, if Mark Cuban gets to another title before him again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think about
Like
that too.
legacies are on the line with this finals.
Oh, and I'll tell you this,
Legacies are
man.
on the line.
And I'll tell you this, if the Dallas Stars had made it to the NHA Stanley Cup and won it
Ooh,
this year, I think the
ooh,
Texas Rangers have
ooh,
won a baseball World Series. I mean, the Cowboys have not
ooh,
won anything
ooh.
since '95, man. They have
95.
not won anything. So
That's what
shoot,
I'm saying. Like,
Jerry would have lost his
dude,
shit.
if stuff like this happens, that's where like you kind of get worried because that's when the legacy thing comes in.
Hmm. It
And
does.
if Dallas wins game three, that's when the legacy narrative starts.
Yes.
Because it's already bubbling and sizzling for Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum on
Mm.
if they get this title in the time frame that they get this title, it makes you look at what would that big three have been if you get Ray and you get KG earlier.
Hmm.
Because I feel like you get those guys, just
Yeah.
speaking hypothetically,
Yes.
because of what Jason and Jalen are doing, that's
Hmm.
like prime. That would have been like prime KG and Paul Pierce
Yeah,
for
because
what
they're
they were
only in
doing.
their 6th and 5th year respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum and Brown are only in their 6th and 5th year respectively. So if they win it this time, you know, they could win possibly 2 or 3 more if they each have a 13-year career or whatever, which is kind of like the norm or whatever.
Right.
So, and they stay healthy. The other thing too, I will say this. I give the Mavericks a gentleman's chance to
I
win
do too.
because here's why. That Dallas group, they're going to be that the fan base is going to be rabid. You talk about the disappointment with the Cowboys and stuff like that, and the Stars kind of falling short. They know this is their chance at a winner. They're going to really maybe
Because the
will them to
Rangers brought
victory.
one home when nobody expected the
Was
Rangers to win it.
exactly.
Nobody.
Yeah,
No, I did not expect them to win the World Series.
yeah,
If anything, I really thought it was the Braves to lose.
exactly.
I thought it
So
was the Braves to lose last year.
yeah, yeah, and then they did it. So I guess what like I said, and like you and me talked about, and even Shane O'Mac last week, we wanted a 7-game series. It can still happen, but it's going to
Yeah.
be tough if Boston goes up 3-0. And is it tomorrow night if I'm not mistaken? It's
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
So that's going to be huge.
Yeah,
So
if they
yeah.
go up 3-0, it's like, dang. Like the legacy, the legacy that them dudes will have. Like, ugh.
It's true. It's true. It's all going to come down to that and so forth of who writes their story. So, switching gears to the NHL Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup!
Uh, man, I have got to give a
Stanley!
shout out to the Panthers because let me just tell you something. They
2-0, baby!
they were
2-0.
dominant. 2-0.
Y'all have a shutout the first game?
They shut out 3
Y'all shut out
nothing.
Connor McDavid?
They shut them out 3-0. And here's the other
Wow.
thing too. They
Uh-huh.
won 4-1 yesterday, and it could have been 8-1 or even 8-0 because the goal that they scored was on a fluke thing that went under Bobrovsky's like leg. It went in, it's legit. But what I'm saying is he blocked way harder shots than that one. And literally, if it wasn't for that goal getting in for Edmonton, who scored first, they would have been shut out in
Mm-hmm.
2 games. And so now the series shifts to Edmonton. And I know those fans are going to be great and so forth, and they might will their team to a victory. But I really believe that the same scenario is going on with the Celtics thing with Mavericks. Edmonton has to win game 3. Otherwise, there's too much statistics that the team that normally wins the first 2 games, like the Panthers have, they've only lost the series 3 times out of 42 in the modern era or something like that. So out of the last 42 Stanley Cups, only 3 teams have come back from a 2-0 deficit. And the Panthers, when they're up 2-0, have never lost a series. Things can happen. That's why we play the games. But right now, there's a lot of history and a lot of stats going against the Edmonton Oilers going into game 3 Thursday night. So, yeah. And to be honest with you, two pair, they lost their cool last night. Guys getting ejected, taking cheap shots, and seriously, Florida just weathered the storm and just wore them down with that conditioning and their deep lines and everything. And shout out to Paul Maurice, the coach. He had a hell of a game plan for the second game in a row.
Yeah, man. I'm proud of the Florida Panthers, though.
It's time, man.
I am.
It's time. Yeah,
I hope y'all do, man. I
it'd be
mean,
nice.
even though I have a friend who lives in Edmonton. Shout out to Janae. Janae, I'm sorry if you see this, but that's my guy. I want to
Yeah,
see Florida
thank
win,
you,
man. I
thank you.
do. I want
I want that jersey
like
so bad that says
like
champs.
hey, I want to get a John Van Breesbrook jersey if they win. If they win, I will try to find one.
Do you know I thought of you too, Pear, because his jersey is one of three that are hanging up in the rafters. By the way, in the
So
Florida Panthers,
Mellenby,
Mellenby, Van Beesbrook.
Jovanovski,
No, Jovanovski's not up there. I
no.
think it's Beret. By the way, Beret is up
Oh,
there. So
Beret.
yeah,
Yeah, Beret
yeah,
would have to
Beret
be
was a
up
big
there.
player for them. So like
Beret would
realistically,
have to be up
those
there.
three are the jerseys that have been
Van
retired in Florida
Beesbrook,
Panthers
though, I got to
history.
get a Van
Van
Beesbrook
Beesbrook.
jersey.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my God,
and
he's the
now the
greatest.
fans are loving Bobrovsky. Like if
Yeah.
Bobrovsky does that thing, I mean, he's become a new legend in Florida. And then this Rodriguez kid that scored the two goals last
Yeah.
night. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, he could be given the key to Miami if they win two more. So yeah, man. Yeah, but I'd like to see it just because it was so nice to be there last year as an 8 seed against the Vegas Knights, but man, they got so outclassed. And then I go back to that 96 series with Beezer and Jovanovski and those guys, and they were such a great team.
Jovanovski.
They were a great team, but
Jovanovski's jersey was so dope. The 55? Was he
yeah,
55?
he was 55. So yeah, I mean,
Was
I'm
Scott
just
Niedermeyer on it? Hold on, was Scott
Ru
Niedermeyer on it?
Niedermeyer was on there, yep, with Mellenby.
Niedermeyer.
I mean, they were a solid squad, but dude, no one was beating Joe Sakic and those Avalanche that year, man. They were just a
No,
notch
they weren't
above.
gonna be Patrick Waugh in the
Patrick
go
Waugh,
at
oh
goaltend.
god, jeez. I mean, it was the wall.
Peter Forsberg,
Forsberg, I mean, they were a solid squad, and they
Claude
outclassed
Lemieux.
Claude Lemieux. I forgot about old Claude Lemieux. I mean, they outclassed the Panthers
He was
in
like the
that
most hated
series.
player ever.
Yeah.
He
And,
was the most
and
hated player ever.
if Mario Lemieux was one of the most loved, Claude Lemieux was like the one. He was like the Wario to Mario. He was Wario
Yeah.
in that game. If you played Nintendo,
Yes.
he was Wario. So yeah, yeah. But realistically, I expect Edmonton. With Connor David, like you said, they're going to do their thing. If the Panthers do win Game 3. I would be very shocked if they do sweep. I think that the Panthers are going to get it done, though. But if Edmonton doesn't win Game 3 and if they lose their temper again like they did, I mean, then they're just going to mail it in Game 4. I don't know. I mean, it's just hard to
Mm-hmm.
come back when it's bad enough to be down 2-0, but if you don't hold serve at home, that's a tough uphill climb to win 4 in a row. I don't care who
Yeah,
you
it
are.
is.
So yeah,
Yeah, it
it
is.
really is.
You gotta you gotta win when you gotta win. Like you can't. It
Mhm.
ain't no looking back. You got to win.
And especially
You
when
know
you're
what
in
I'm
a
saying?
championship series too, Pair. I mean, like when this could be the last time you ever make it if you think about it. Like it has to be today. There is no tomorrow. I mean, like it's this year. It's not next year. It's this year. So, I mean, so speaking of this year, let's talk about the Vols baseball team going to Omaha. And what a crazy super regional it was
Man,
all the way around. I mean, we talked
uh,
about the potential.
Saturday was crazy.
Saturday
Saturday
was
was
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. And truth be told, I really believe between you and I that we talked about the potential of maybe 6 SEC teams making it to the College World Series, but we got 4. The crazy other part is the other 4
We should
are
have had. We should have
ACC
had.
teams.
We should have had 5. We should
We
have had
should have had
5
at
or
least
6.
5. We should have had 5. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
well,
Georgia dropped the ball.
Georgia dropped
Georgia
the
dropped the ball.
ball.
Yeah.
Georgia dropped. Florida handled business.
They did. Yeah.
Clemson should have won.
Yeah.
Clemson should have. Clemson 2 years in a row.
Yep.
2 years in a row at home. Ugh,
Choke artist.
that's tough.
Did you know that the Gators were the preseason number 2 team in baseball? They've had some whatever, but realistically,
Number two?
they were preseason number 2. Then they lost some games that they didn't, but they are
Wow,
hot
I didn't
at
know
the right.
that.
I didn't know either. I didn't know that either. It was when I was watching the game against
I
Clemson while
thought
I was
LSU
waiting.
was the hottest team in the SEC besides us.
They were,
Besides us,
yeah.
I thought LSU. I felt like LSU was the hottest team besides us.
Yeah, they just ran into a buzzsaw. The Tar Heels are really good, and I still don't know how the North Carolina Tar Heels didn't win the ACC baseball championship because
I
they were the
still don't.
best team. They were the best ACC team.
How did Duke beat the snot out of Florida State?
And Miami, they beat the snot out of Miami and Florida State to win that ACC championship. So they did. So
It just doesn't sound right.
it
Look
doesn't,
at
not in
Virginia.
baseball. Yeah,
Virginia looks good.
yeah,
Virginia looks good.
yep,
Florida State looks good.
yep,
But
yep.
North Carolina was the most impressive what
Mm.
they did against West Virginia. But the way we looked against Evansville, I didn't like the way we looked Saturday.
Saturday was crap. Yeah, Saturday I didn't like. Mm-mm.
Saturday we got off to a fast start and we cooled off. We felt like we won already,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we got smacked for like 4 runs in an inning. We couldn't get the last out for
It's true.
anything.
It's true. No, I mean, like realistically, as sad as it is, two pair, that should not have happened. I mean, we should have been able to save and rest our guys. It was nice to see the
Yeah,
beat down take care of business, but
yeah.
what?
It
But
was a game that we didn't need. We didn't need to
correct.
play that.
We didn't need to
We
play
should have.
that.
We didn't need to play that.
Yeah,
We
and
played
the
an extra game for the fans in Knoxville.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
that was for.
exactly, exactly. And
Because we should
realistically,
have beat them Saturday.
yeah, we should have. We should have. And here's my fear, okay? And I
Mm-hmm.
said this a couple years ago. And I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just a realist. You scored a lot of runs in those 3 games, respectively, whether you won or lost. You need to save some of those runs for that beast of a ballpark there in Rosenblatt in Omaha. And I say that because the bats went cold 3 years ago against that Virginia team. And there's a possibility that you're going to play that same damn Virginia team, different players, but same coaches, same strategies, and it would be on Father's Day again, if you can imagine that, So that also kind of makes me nervous because Tennessee lost to Virginia 3 years ago in the College World Series on Father's Day. So, I think that it would probably be that chalk holds that Tennessee would probably play North Carolina in the winners bracket. But like you said,
Mm-hmm.
two pair Florida State ain't no slouch, man. They can play,
No,
they
they
can hit,
ain't.
and they put
They ain't.
24 runs on
On
Connecticut.
UConn. UConn.
24 runs. So
And
yeah,
they spanked UConn,
they
bro.
did.
That was a spanking. That
They
wasn't
did.
even cool.
No,
That
no,
wasn't cool.
yeah,
Like UConn got spanked.
yeah.
Shout out to my man Greg Tanzada, but I'm sorry, I'm UConn. This big boy, baseball over here.
Hmm.
Like this big boy baseball over here.
Well, and you know
Like
what the crazy thing is? Yeah, yeah.
The way
Uh,
UT was hitting the ball, like Blake Burke, Hunter Inslee, Dylan Driley,
mhm.
Billy Amick,
Amick.
Dalton Bargo, Christian Moore, Kavaris Tears. We are a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
We are a problem. Cal Stark. We are a
Hmm.
problem.
And they got to
We got the
knock
best
the
hitting lineup.
hell. They got to knock the hell out of the ball on
Yeah, they
what
do.
Thursday? Is it Thursday or Friday? Is the
Friday,
game? Friday,
Friday,
Friday. So that's what
Friday.
I'm saying. They got to knock the hell out of the ball. It's Friday night prime time. I mean, they got to
Mm,
do it. They've got to do it. So yeah.
they've got to do it. Yeah,
Mhm.
like this one is.
It's a big one.
This one is the big one, man.
Yeah.
Like
And that's why I
it's the
say
big
there's no
one.
tomorrow, man. They have got, if this is the year you are the number 1 overall seed, walk in there with swag that you are the number 1 overall seed and beat them. So, yeah. Yeah.
But
Hey,
how about the catch of the week, though? The
look
catch
who's
of the
on.
week,
Look who's on, two pair. Look who's on. Our guy Carey. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yep.
Tennessee, Kentucky final.
That'd be
Whoa,
amazing, dude. That would be
that
amazing.
would
Shout
be
out to Carey.
great.
So, yeah.
That
No,
would
but what
be
were you say the
great.
catch of the week or what have you? You were talking about the catch
Dude,
of the week?
did you see the catch in the Clemson Florida game?
Yes. Yes, I did see that. Yes. Yeah.
Oh man.
It was a crazy super regionals, man. I mean, it was a very good super regionals, and I have no doubt these are the eight teams that are needing to be here, and it really is an ACC versus SEC civil
SEC,
war. It
yeah.
seems like right now in a Southern affair. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, man, like Virginia, North Carolina is the matchup that really intrigues me. But
uh
like
huh,
the Florida State, the Florida State Tennessee, I just feel like I feel like Florida State is good, but they don't hit the way Tennessee hits.
yeah. I think they're going to be facing an upgrade in pitching with Tennessee
Pitching,
compared to
yeah,
Connecticut, you know. And that's the
yeah.
other thing too. Like, how the hell did Connecticut beat Duke and Oklahoma respectively? That same Duke team you mentioned that beat Florida State,
They
and
beat
then
them in the ACC championship.
yes, and then Connecticut goes and Florida State wallops the hell out of them 24-3. And you know what I didn't know, two pair, and I don't know if you know the rules that well yourself, but I was asking my buddy who does know the rules. I said, why is this game not being run ruled at this point? And he said to me, they don't do run rule in the playoffs, in the postseason. So you can
Mm,
have games like that should have been decided way before because realistically, if it's that bad, you risk somebody getting hurt if you play all 9 innings, you know? I mean, there's could be something. I mean, if it's that bad, it's over. I mean,
yeah,
24
it's bad.
runs, shit.
I'm just Georgia, man. What the hell?
At home. They
How?
lost that at home. I mean, that's inexcusable.
How?
That's inexcusable.
Like when Tennessee lost to Notre Dame, I think I felt the way the Georgia
Oh,
fans
that
felt.
sucked.
I
That
felt the way the
sucked.
Georgia fans felt. Cause
Yep.
damn, man, they were like
Yeah.
a 10 losing to a 7.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I mean a 7 losing to a 10.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And
Like
realistically,
the
NC State was okay, but they weren't NC State was like the third worst team compared to like um Clemson and North Carolina in the ACC. You know, that's why they got the 10 national seed and I don't know
yeah, they
what
were
happened there.
38 and 21. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
they
they
didn't
just
even do that
weren't
well in the
that.
ACC either. So, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't that good, man.
But again, it's like it's how you hit, it's how you get hot. If you have good pitching, I mean, it's just there's so much that goes into it. But realistically, this should be Tennessee's year to do it. I mean, if not now, when?
Mm,
And I asked that question because you mentioned that team with the Notre Dame. I thought that team was better than the team that got to Omaha the year before, and to lose at home the way you did to Notre Dame, you left one out there.
yeah,
You left one
yeah, that
out
was the
there.
worst one.
Yeah.
Like losing to Notre Dame
Mhm.
at home when you really had the best team in the country that year.
Yep.
Like we were the best team in the country in
Absolutely, we were.
2022.
Yep.
And to
Yeah.
be the best team in the country now is like, please, like,
You
don't
gotta
lose
do it.
this. Like,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
don't do this to us. Like,
Yeah.
we deserve to be the number one team in the country. Like,
Mhm.
please just finish it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
finish it out.
Well, and here's the other thing too, pair. If you think about this, this is why I say this is the hardest part of the college baseball tournament. You've got a beast of a stadium. You've got really good teams, rabid fans.
Really
What's
good
the weather?
teams.
What's the weather going to be like? You know, it's the Midwest. Those thunderstorms can do rain delays. You got to be ready to hit. You know, be prepared. But if you are able to muster through that side of the bracket to meet, you know, like Kerry mentioned, a Kentucky team or someone like that, you got to win 2 out of 3 again. Like you go into a mini series and it's not one game take all. You got to bring two at least, if not three more games of pitchers that's arms are probably just worn the hell out at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
man. That's
that
why
hitting's got to be
it,
there. It's all got to be there. So,
it's gotta the hitting has gotta be there. That's why I like what we are 1 through 9.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
love what we are 1 through 9.
Hmm.
Um
I'd like those home runs to have maybe two or three on base, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but like
yeah,
they
no
were too
more
many
solo
solos.
shots.
There were too many solo
Yeah.
shots, you know? I
Put
mean,
some solo
shoot.
get some guys on base. Like that's why I love that's one thing I love about Blake Burke. Special happy birthday shout out the Blake Burke.
Happy birthday to Blake Burke.
Yeah, and he had a birthday weekend. The way he was raking, like
Mhm.
every time I looked up, Blake Burke had a double against Evansville. He's really been swinging the bat well, and the two home runs by Christian Moore set the tone.
Yeah.
Then the two home runs by Dalton Bargo, who's from Omaha, going back to Omaha
Mhm.
this weekend.
You know what else too, pair with those home runs, man? The minute they cracked the bat, they were gone. There was no, oh, is it gonna get to the wall? Is that guy gonna like rob him?
Yeah,
It was gone. It was like you minute you saw it hit, goodbye. I mean,
but
yeah.
yeah, the ones Billy Amick hits,
Oh God, yeah,
man, Billy Amick hit the light fixture.
yeah. Hmm.
I
Billy
can't remember
Amick.
which one.
Billy Amick has been like Dalton Connect for this baseball team. The what he's brought as a
Yeah,
transfer,
he is.
honestly, he really has.
Yeah, he
So
has.
yeah, yeah.
He has. You
Oh,
know what? That's a great comparison.
it is, and it's really
Great
brought what
comparison.
needed. You had the talent, you had other stuff, but you bring in a guy that buys into the program and wanted a fresh start. Not that he wasn't good at where he was at, but wanted a fresh start and has carved his own path this year and is going to be drafted by
Mm,
somebody very well in baseball, when that draft comes and so forth and do well for himself like Connect. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm excited for a standpoint how many Tennessee fans are going to go to Omaha because Tennessee travels very well in any sport
especially with Peyton
with a winner.
Manning with Omaha Productions.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So
You
it's there.
know,
Yeah.
they might pick up. We might Rebels with a Cause might be picked up on Omaha Productions one day. You never know.
Him and me can sit down and talk with all three of us because we make the decision as all three or
Yeah,
whatever.
man.
So for
We
sure.
might get on Omaha Productions with Peyton. Peyton, man, book us, man. We need to be on the SEC network with Rebels with a Cause. This is
Hey,
dope. We
let's do it.
like
Let's do
it
it.
would be dope. That would be dope. We'd probably be the first high school show on
Oh, for sure.
ESPN.
Oh, for sure. And then I guess my other thing too, man, is let's just be real with this. Um, it's football, and you could showcase the high school football of West High School against somebody else. See how well we do against one of them national teams or whatever like that. So I mean, shoot, I'd love it. Kind of like what happened with
Mhm.
what was his name there um, that just took the job at UAB that was at. The school in Tennessee, private school.
Oh,
Trent
Trent
Dilfer.
Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer. So I'm just thinking about that too. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be really dope. Really dope, man.
Man, I'll tell you
Really
one
dope.
thing, dude. Another thing I kind of wanted to see if you had noticed, like with it now being, you're kind of getting to that end of NBA and NHL and so forth. You got the NBA draft in June, but
Hmm.
something that I'm going to be really excited about is the Olympics coming up, and those U.S. trials are about to start in the swimming, the
Hmm.
gymnastics, the track, the more popular events. To
Yeah,
go up
yeah,
against the
yeah.
world's best. And I really get into that stuff. Like I really like
Oh
seeing
yeah.
whose
I
story it
like the
is,
Olympics.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the Olympics too. And that's coming right around the corner, which is one of those years that we have it because usually it's really just some baseball to tie you over. I know WNBA. Let me ask you about this WNBA thing, with Caitlin Clark. I mean, my goodness, like I
It
guess
made
we're talking
national
about it.
news.
I mean, we're talking about it. They were talking about this. I mean, and it's like, and now we're talking about that she was left off the national squad, and it's like, well, but here, can I just be fair about something? No disrespect to her, but would you put with who was on our national team now? Who's like the best rookie? Like, would you put that? No, you wouldn't. I mean, look how much flack
Hey,
Christian Leitner got for being on the
you
'92 Dream Team, even though he was National Player of the Year in college or whatever like
the
that.
only female that has a right to say anything about being left off is Arike Aba Abagunle
Hmm.
Abagunwale
Yeah.
Abagunwale.
Yes.
She's the only one
Yeah.
that can say anything about, like, she deserves to be on the team.
Yes.
The way
I
she's
agree with
playing
that.
for Dallas Wings,
Yep.
she's putting up 30 balls
Yeah.
in Dallas.
Yep.
30 balls.
Yeah.
Like she's all they have right now in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Enrique, she should be on the team. Like the whole Caitlin Clark and, and ain't no. Why would they're not? No, they're not better than Breonna Stewart, Kelsey Plum,
Mm-hmm.
Asia Wilson.
Asia Wilson's putting up some sick
They
numbers right now.
sick
So,
numbers.
yep.
Like them girls are not. Them girls ain't touching that.
The ageless. Listen,
Jewel
listen.
Lloyd.
Listen, I don't like her. I've never liked her. I'm a true Lady Vol fan. But the ageless Diana Taurasi still playing at the level that she's playing. Jesus
Yeah,
criminies. It's like
yeah.
it's sick. She's been doing
30
this for
balls.
24 years, I feel like. 24 years since she stepped foot at UConn. Honestly, she's been doing this for 24 damn years. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, it's
Like
crazy. So,
it's
yeah.
crazy, right? So you mean to tell me Caitlin Clark is better than Chelsea Gray? She's better than you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that ain't the same thing.
Yeah.
It ain't the same thing.
I just think that this has it's kind of been shoved down people's throats, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
just
it
don't like
is.
that. If it was a natural thing, great, but it's been shoved down people's throats. And now they're talking about the sexual preferences. They're talking about, just the fact of where she comes from Iowa, like she plain old little white girl or
And
whatever.
then
Like,
they talking about for marketing and
yeah,
growing the game. No, this ain't
no,
about that.
no,
And my
it's
bad.
not.
I think we still got the Vols baseball
Oh,
going
you
on
know
my
what? I
bad.
didn't even make a
My bad.
banner for WNBA, so that's my bad on that one. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
but
you're
but
good. You're
yeah,
good.
I mean, because
WNBA didn't get
realistically,
a banner.
I guess, yeah, we didn't
Hey,
get a banner because it kind of talked about, but I was like, it made national news. I mean, this was on
yeah,
CNN, this was on ABC World. I mean, this was
yeah,
like on all the stuff, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, there's
yeah. I can't believe it.
billions of things going on in the world, and we're going to focus on that. That's what ESPN covers, like, I mean, shoot, I don't know. So
Yeah, we don't. And the funny thing is, like,
yeah.
people are talking, like, her coach coming out saying you just woke up a month. Come
Oh
on,
God, dude, shoot,
come
that's such a cliche
on.
thing too. So, oh my
Come
goodness,
on. And
you've
then you
woken
know
up a
what?
monster.
Rightfully for Caitlin Clark, she gave the best PR, you know what I'm saying, comment, like the where she ain't really paying attention to it. She's
Hmm.
sad that she's not on. But like, is Caitlin Clark giving you what Asia Wilson gives you? Is Caitlin Clark giving you what Kelsey Plum is giving you?
No,
Is
no,
she giving you what Jackie Young gives you? That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
how is she gonna? We talking about Sabrina Unescu.
Hmm. I'm just
This
saying
is
this. She's got to
this
pay
is
her dues.
different.
She's got to pay her dues. Let's see what type of a player she is in 4 years when the Olympics are in U.S. They'll be in Los Angeles. They're not going to be in Paris. They
Mm.
will be in L.A. in 2028. So get better in
Hey,
4 years.
what if the Olympics were in Vegas?
Oh God, that would be sick. That would be sick.
Yo,
Yeah.
that would be crazy.
You know what the problem is? It really could have been in a place like that because Vegas has room to expand. It's just this hole in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
desert.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you could build those facilities. It's like
Yeah,
there's nowhere to put stuff in Los Angeles. It's stuff on top of stuff. I
and
mean, where do you
stuff.
put
Yeah,
things? I mean, like
yeah. And the thing
buildings
is, they
and
like,
new centers and stadiums.
and the
So,
thing is, they got like so much like it's just desert. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? They'd have to
it is.
build like power lines and everything out there.
Yeah. It's kind of
It'd
like
be
this
crazy.
2026 World Cup coming up that's going to be hosted by
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, US, and Canada. And now you've got 48 teams, not 32. You've got 48 teams. It's going to be the largest World Cup ever. And they're building stadiums or, they're deciding which stadiums to put them in.
48 teams.
48 teams. Yeah, it's going to be the largest World Cup ever. So, yeah, I mean,
Sheesh.
so yeah, it is. And so the US has some pretty big events coming up that they're
The
hosting.
US would have to win like 3 rounds.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Hold
it's
on, is
tough.
it 48
I
teams?
think I think what they're going to do is because with 32 there's eight four team pods. So I think what they're going to do is I guess maybe 10. No. What's
Whoa.
12? 12 pod teams, and then they'll split. With 12, then six, and then you get the.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah,
got
that's
you.
how it works. But there's going to be 12 pods of four with the two teams advancing. 24 teams will advance, and then it'll go down to 12, and then six, and then go from
Okay,
there.
yeah.
So
Now
yeah.
that would be dope as hell.
Yeah,
That would
but
be dope as
there's a
fuck.
lot more soccer, like you're saying, that's going to be played, and do you have the
Yeah,
depth to do it? Because whoever wins it
man.
will have earned it with depth. Because injuries and red cards and all that stuff will really
Yeah, that
determine who
bull.
does well and
Yeah,
who does that. So yeah, yeah. The other
yeah.
last thing I wanted to talk about that we had on the agenda, WWE wrestling, and I'm going to tell
NXT
you,
is really good right now.
NXT
NXT is really
is
good
good.
right now.
The only thing that I am laughing at right now, and you've heard me
Yeah,
say it before, this
yeah.
Liv Morgan Dirty Dom thing with Ray
That
Ripley.
is funny.
It is like Attitude Era type vibes I'm
Esque,
getting.
esque, esque. It's
Yes,
very, very attitude esque.
and I'm telling you, if this
Esque.
was on Netflix and they could get away with a little bit more than what they're pushing the envelope on USA right now on Monday nights, it's hilarious. And then you look at the guy, you want to punch him in the face. He's got a mullet, he dresses like an idiot, and he's dirty Dom. And yet, arguably, he's married to a beautiful woman. He's got another on screen girlfriend. And then he's got this one that's like an on screen side chick. It's like the 25-year-old fantasy or whatever like
Oh
that
my
that's
God,
playing
it's
out.
balling out here.
I mean,
Balling out here.
who wrote this stuff? I mean, is that is that
It's
is that
good.
Triple H, or is that the group that now owns WWE, that owns UFC? That's what I'm asking
I
for or
don't know, but
whatever
it's
like
pretty good writing. I ain't gonna
that.
front. It's
It
good
it's
writing.
more exciting than Cody Rhodes' WWE title reign. Sorry, I had to get it out there. Sorry, I had to get it out
Man,
there. So my shot. So
it just ain't impressive right now,
it
man.
ain't,
It
man. They're
ain't
already
it ain't impressive. It just ain't impressive.
no,
It's
no.
just not. I will say this though.
Mm.
Jay Uso, Jay Uso is taking over the
Him,
WWE. He has taken over. Like
him,
he's so
Priest.
over right now.
Yeah, McIntyre and
Yeah.
CM Punk, and that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the McIntyre CM Punk thing, because apparently Drew McIntyre either did a shoot, or maybe it's a work that they really wanted out there, but apparently Drew McIntyre blames CM Punk for why he failed. Like he was one of the guys holding him back that first time, and so forth. And so he basically says, I owe him one, and I've never forgotten it, and I want to kick his ass. I mean, he said it just like that. Now,
And
whether
then
he's
CM
doing
Punk cost him the title.
and then this, so
That
there's
was
some really
great.
real bad blood right there between
Yeah,
those
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So
I can
yeah,
see that though.
yeah.
I
But
can
and
see
Raw
that.
right now is just way more exciting to watch than SmackDown. So much so,
SmackDown, I haven't watched it. I
no,
have not watched
I've
SmackDown.
deleted it as soon as I fast forwarded. There's nothing that really into. I find myself watching Raw and NXT, like you mentioned, more so
I
than I
watched
watch.
NXT tonight,
Yeah.
and Sway Lee put on a performance that man, my girlfriend wanted to leave me off Sway Lee. She said he was fine.
uh oh. Uh-oh.
He ain't fine. Shut up.
So
Shut up. Yeah, whatever.
he
Anyway,
was he was swaying. So
like he was swaying. I'm like, the hell?
uh-oh.
Sway Lee, man, quit making my girlfriend won't leave me, Sway.
He's making other girlfriends probably too, so goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
taking
So
taking everybody's girlfriend out
he's the
here.
real
Shirt
dirty
off.
Dom, not written. He's the real dirty Dom. He ain't this writing crap up. So I mean, oh my god, dirty Dom. So
Hey man.
shoot.
Oh my goodness. Now WWE, man, I ain't gonna lie, NXT is like the better product to watch right now. To
Yeah.
me. To me. I mean, better than SmackDown.
Oh god,
I don't
SmackDown
watch SmackDown.
stinks. We're gonna say it. SmackDown
SmackDown
stinks.
stinks.
Stinks. It's awful.
Stinks.
So they stink.
NXT NXT is like I watched NXT all tonight.
Hmm.
Like, I watched the whole thing. I ain't gonna front. I watched the entirety of NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carrie did want to comment real quick on the WNBA thing. Caitlin will be in the team in 4 years when the Olympics are in Los Angeles. She's played college and pro nonstop since October, and her body and her needs a lot of rest. She's going to be just fine. Absolutely, she is, and she is a
absolutely.
good player. Listen, and good for the WNBA that they're getting
It's
butts
just
in
she
the
ain't
seat.
she ain't
She just
playing
ain't
ahead of Drew
ready.
Lloyd. She
No,
ain't playing ahead of Drew Lloyd.
no, she ain't.
She ain't playing ahead of Kelsey Plum. She
Yep.
ain't playing ahead of Sabrina Ionescu. Like,
Mm,
nah, she ain't playing ahead of those girls. And yes, she has played basketball nonstop. Like, ever
mhm.
since the tournament ended, they went right
They
back to
get drafted
basketball.
and they go right into the season. Yep.
They had no type of training camp. They didn't have
Mm-mm.
a no. They don't even have a summer league
They don't. They
because
don't.
they're
It would be
playing in the
considered a
summer.
winter league, or it would be like a winter league if they did that, but they're not going to compete against college basketball or women's basketball during that time. They're just not. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they those girls would either need a spring or a winter league, and
Mhm.
that winter league got to be like 3 weeks in the winter or three
Mhm.
weeks during Christmas or Thanksgiving, like
Yeah,
intertwined or something
somewhere
like
in
that.
between there, and then even then, like, I mean, there's so much other stuff going on, the holidays and the other
And
sports or
football was like,
football. There's a
ain't
like
nobody
it's
watching
very
that.
hard. It's very hard for them, and it's always been very difficult for them. But listen, power to them that they're getting capacity crowds with people showing up, people buying merch, people are talking about it. I mean, and not in a funny way. It used to be made fun of, and now it's
Or
starting to be taken seriously. So,
they
yeah,
could do a summer league after their league is over,
they should. Yep. To get
you
ready.
know,
To get ready,
to get ready.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just it's interesting of how much stuff is going on right now, and sometimes I just don't have the time to watch it all. And thank God for like YouTube and games that are like kind of edited, that you can watch the major highlights. You can cut a 2 hour game
Hmm.
into 21 minutes. You know what I mean, with
Yeah,
every
you
basket
can.
shown and so forth
Yeah,
like
just
that.
show me the
So.
baskets. I don't need to see the
Yeah, I don't
misses.
need to see the
Like,
crap or turnovers or nothing like
yeah,
that. I don't need to see that. So no, no.
I can judge it. I can judge it off what was the score and then what was the field goal percentage from the players, and then it's like, okay, I can tell who had a good game and who didn't have a good game.
Hmm.
You know,
It's true.
because I feel like that's gonna be more of the presentation now that you're gonna be seeing from high schools with a video board. You know what I'm saying? So
It's true.
we're
It's true.
definitely gonna see a lot of we're gonna definitely see a lot of changes in on that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. I do have one last rant before we wrap it up in case anybody in the chat box wants to bring anything. Please bring it if we haven't discussed it already. We've
Oh,
talked
we
a little
forgot
bit.
about. Did we say football scheduling for next year?
Yeah. Wait, yeah, you did want to mention something about college football. So,
Yeah,
hold on one second. Let me
those.
get that. Let me
Let me
get that
see.
banner up there. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, was it the TV schedule was kind of released for
yeah.
the
The
first
TV
couple games for the
schedule.
Vols? So yeah,
Um,
I know I got
I
who
don't
are they
know
playing?
about these flex games though. The flex games, it's like I like it.
Yeah.
Some of these games could be at night, or they could be at like the way they do it now. Your early game is your 12-1. Those are
Your
your early
appetizers.
games.
Yep.
Yeah. So the 12-1 games are your early games. Your afternoon games are going to be in that 3:30 to
4 o'clock.
4:30
Yeah.
window. Your night games are going to be at 6.
Yeah. Anywhere from 6 to 9, depending on what is it the time zone? That's what I was looking
Time
for. The word.
zone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like those games, it's gonna be wild. Like some of the games that we have, like the scheduling is just. I think they really did a great job. It's just the flex games are the ones that kind of have me in question. Like the
Hmm.
way they're gonna bump those games up, where like the Tennessee and Florida game, that could be a 3:30 game or it could be a flex game. But I think it might stay 3:30.
Yeah. I
Or it
mean,
could be a night game.
yeah, it
At the
really
end of the
depends
day.
on how Florida does that first game against Miami because if they were to shock Miami, That will probably be a night game. If Miami beats Florida, it's probably going to be a 3:30 game. I would be very shocked if it was a noon game, because I think Tennessee and
Yeah.
Florida have only played a noon game a couple of times. It's always traditionally been
Mm.
that 3:30 night game or something like that on CBS. So,
Yeah, because
but
I
yeah,
remember when
like
Tennessee Florida
I
game was a night game back in the
oh
day.
yeah,
It used to be a night game.
yeah, it used to be.
That
It
Tennessee
used to be a big time
it used to
night
be
game. So,
a big time night game.
well, and you know
That's
what else too? I think
like an
that
Auburn
these
LSU game should be a night game.
9 o'clock every time should be a 9 o'clock game on the plains, man. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah,
I think that they're doing this flex thing because this is what ESPN wanted. To pair, they paid a bunch of money for these SEC rights, and CBS
yeah.
cowered and took the Big Ten and all that and so forth, and that's fine. But the
Because
most exciting brand,
ESPN, they got ESPNU, ESPN News,
mm,
ESPN Plus, SEC
mm,
Network,
mm-hmm,
ABC. Now
mm-hmm.
that the SEC's on ABC, like CBS ain't got them right.
No, no, they
It's
don't.
gonna be weird looking at CBS having Big Ten games.
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
it just looks weird.
yeah, and
It
they've
just
pretty
doesn't
much
look weird.
become the de facto Big Ten network, national because they were already doing college basketball for them. You don't see the ACC teams or a lot of the SEC teams on CBS college basketball season like you used to.
No, you
It's
don't.
now all Big Ten. ESPN
It's it's
showcasing.
Big Ten. It's Big Ten in a few SEC games,
Yeah, Big
like a
12.
few.
Yeah, not Big 12. I'm sorry. Who's that? AAC. They show a lot of like Memphis that conference teams
Mm,
or what have you. CBS does on Sundays, but not like the college basketball lineup they used to have. And ESPN has positioned themselves, and rightly so, being the major network. But realistically, Fox, I guess, is still all in on the Big 12. And I guess now that the Pac 12's gone, do they have a little bit of the Big Ten games? And then I guess my question is, ESPN is just solely SEC and ACC at this point of the big Power Five or the Power Four conferences now because the Pac-12 doesn't exist. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how those games get flexed in as well and so forth throughout
yeah,
the
that
weeks.
scheduling was. When I saw that scheduling, I'm like, goodness grief, man.
Yep.
These games are gonna be like just looking at some of this stuff. I'm like, there's no way that Georgia is gonna come out undefeated through that. Like they got a
No.
gauntlet.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got a gauntlet. Auburn has a gauntlet of games. This is
Yeah.
like
And
the flex games. I want to say they've got a flex game for Tennessee. Let me pull it up. Tennessee's got a few flex games um, on this schedule, and it's looking like a 3:30, 4:30, or 6 to 8. And the flex games they've got the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, and Alabama might be flex games to where they could, yeah, yeah,
wow,
they could. I know,
that's
like those
crazy.
are flex games. Their night games are Kentucky and Mississippi State. Georgia is a flex game. The UTEP and Vanderbilt game, those are going to be early. Like
Noon games or what have
UTEP,
you. So,
UTEP will be a 1 p.m. SEC Network ESPN Plus game, and then Vanderbilt will be early. And I don't even know if Vanderbilt's going to come on TV.
yeah.
I don't even think anybody's going to show that game.
Mm.
Vanderbilt's going to be a terrible team. Um, the NC State game is going to be in Charlotte.
Because that's some
So
kickoff
that
classic, right? That's some kickoff
mhm.
classic game that they're doing. The
The Duke Mayo
the Duke
kickoff
Mayo.
classic.
Yep.
The Duke Mayo
It's that
kickoff
Duke
classic.
energy over there in North Carolina, and then the Mayo,
All
I
right.
guess. The yeah,
All right. All right.
yeah.
7:30.
Sponsors.
So yeah, crazy. That was funny. 7:30 p.m. game on ABC. Um, I just don't. the road games like Oklahoma and Arkansas, a flex game. You,
Well,
I don't know. You
that
lose to Oklahoma
Oklahoma Tennessee game needs to be a
is
primetime game. That's got to be a primetime
I
game.
yeah, it needs to be a 9 o'clock game.
Yeah, I could
Or
see
no, eight
that.
o'clock. Eight
8 o'clock.
o'clock game. Eight
Yeah.
o'clock. Eight
Yeah, because
o'clock.
it would be 7 o'clock their time. And truth be told, realistically, I almost believe that you look at Arkansas, that could be one of them horrible noon games that's really 11 o'clock over there. But the last time the Vols did that, they beat the hell out of LSU a couple years ago. So, so sometimes that might be, decent. But 11 o'clock in the morning is really early in the central time. Honestly, it
Well,
is.
far as travel, because I know there's going to be a ton of fans that want to go to Oklahoma and go to Arkansas. Like
Hmm.
Arkansas is really close for Tennessee fans to travel to.
It's not that
Like
far.
Fayetteville to Knoxville ain't that far.
Uh-uh.
Like it's really not.
No.
You know, but I know the Tennessee fans they want to travel to that. Like I think Tennessee is going to invade Charlotte
Oh, that'll be Vol Charlotte or whatever like that. Even though NC
because
State's technically closer, no, it'll be way more Vol
yeah,
fans
it's
there.
like Charlotte is 4 hours away. There's
Mhm.
somebody's gonna drive to Charlotte to watch UT play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
just
honestly,
thought
that
what I'm saying.
stadium's
We should.
pretty good. That stadium is pretty good in the downtown
It
nightlife. It'll
is.
be fun. Charlotte's fun. So, yeah.
Charlotte's a fun city, and Tennessee fans, man, like if you really want to go to that game, go to that game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go to that game. That game is gonna be juiced.
Yeah. It's true.
M-
It's true. Yeah.
Man, this was a great show.
This
We
was a
got
great
in a ton
show.
of
I got
we got
one
a ton of
rant.
stuff.
Yeah, I got one more rant and then we'll call it a night.
All right.
Um, I want to just also just throw this out there because, we always have it under our banners. You have the voice of the Rebels. I love to tout that we've been 5A champions for 557 days and counting.
Hmm.
But let me just throw this out there real quick. Carrie, before I go, yeah, Carrie wrote, I just looked at the SEC schedule for all 16 teams. Missouri has the easiest at 29. Florida has the number one strength of schedule in the country. Yeah, Florida's schedule's sick. Tennessee has the
Yeah.
eighth toughest schedule. Of the top 10 schedules, the SEC has nine of the 10 toughest schedules in the country. It's a bloodbath, and it's only
I
going to be that in all the sports,
If
honestly.
there's a 12-team playoff, I got Tennessee coming in at 11. If they do what they're supposed to do, I got Tennessee at 11. I think Ole Miss could be 10. Uh, Notre Dame and Michigan could be like the 8 and 9.
Hmm.
I like to see that as an 8 and 9 game.
I,
The 5 versus 12,
yeah.
uh, Alabama. I like Alabama as a fifth seed. I don't know. I was looking at this projected playoff by Andy Staples at On
Mm.
Three, and some of the stuff he has is kind of like what I had, but I was gonna replace. I think he's got either Boise State at 12.
Yeah, because you have to take one of the non-conference teams as the highest ranked
Yeah,
non-conference team gets in as the 12 seed. So yeah, I think Ohio State and Oregon will be there for the Big Ten. I think Michigan
yeah.
probably
Ohio
makes it.
State.
Yeah, Ohio
A lot of
State's going to
people
be there.
picking Ohio State. Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Florida State 3, Kansas State 4. Uh, I don't know, man. Oklahoma could. I don't think Oklahoma could get in there if they
No,
have a bad
I'd
season.
see Texas in there before Oklahoma if
Texas, I see
be-
Texas would be like a
as a
seven
seven.
against
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Texas Oklahoma would be a great matchup.
Hmm.
That'd be great to watch.
It would. It
Um,
would.
that
So
would be really good to watch, man. I would
absolutely.
love to see that.
So, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, let me finish my rant and we'll finish up the show. So, under
Mm.
mine, it says that we've been 5A champions for 557 days and counting. And I'm going to say it every week until we get them. Two pair, where are our rings? Where
Yes,
is
you still haven't got
Belfort?
your ring.
I still have not gotten my ring. This ring that I wear is from 2 years ago. I love it. I rep it everywhere. I get asked about it all the time. But for the love of God, where is the rings that were ordered in January? these kids are already getting ready to go to college, or if not already there, getting in those programs. I mean, we need to have a nice ceremony before, everybody's gone and so forth. And I want my ring. We need our rings, baby.
Mm,
Belfour, you've dropped the ball. I even heard you even got some yearbooks mixed up at Farragut High School. What the hell is going on over there at Belfour? So, so we want our rings, and I'm going to bring it up. And if I have to drive to Lenore on that window and ask, where are these rings at for the West High Rebels, back to back champs? I mean, I'm going to do it.
mm.
So get our rings for us, please, for goodness sake. So that's rant over. So that's
Oh
it.
man, you still ain't got your ring?
I still ain't got it, man. I mean, I would be showing it off next to its brother, honestly. So yeah, but it ain't happening.
That man got two championship rings, man.
I mean, look at these babies behind me, man. That's what it's all about. All we do is win that W. So yeah,
Man, this man got two championship rings.
I'm looking for a third. So I like
This man got two championship rings.
so. Well, two pair. You got
Man,
anything
great
else,
show.
man? Because I
Oh man,
be back next
another
week. Might even have a guest. So yeah. So,
yeah, man. Shout out to Blake Burke of the Tennessee baseball Vols. Happy birthday to him.
yeah. Happy
Big
birthday,
shout
Blake.
out to him, man.
Yeah. Shout
Going
out
to
to Tony
Omaha
Vitello,
2 years
man.
in a
Shout
row.
out to Tony Vitello for
Yo,
making
shout out to
balls
his rant.
baseball. Yeah.
Shout out to his rant. That was
Hmm.
that's Tony V. That was a classic rant.
Yep.
And
Yep.
everything he said in it was powerful.
It
So yeah,
was.
those are my shout outs for the week, man. And hopefully the Vols can bring home a national championship. I would
Yep.
love to see it. It'd be really cool to say that we're the national champions.
Hmm.
Um,
Not
be
since
really
'08,
dope.
man. Not since '08. It would be nice to say not since '24. So simple as
Right,
that. So yep.
right,
One of
right,
them. Yep.
right. I would love to see it.
Yeah, from your
Love
lips,
to see
bud,
it.
and we'll have a better idea next Tuesday. We'll have a better idea of where the Vols are at. Do they go 0-2, or are they 2-0? Fingers crossed, go into that winners
Fingers
bracket.
crossed.
So it's now or never, man. No tomorrow. So football team, basketball team, anybody that's doing sports right now, get in that weight room and run and do everything you got to do to win, baby. That's what I'm saying. Do not waste a day.
Just win.
Put everything into it, man. So yeah. But two pair, we end every show throwing up that W, baby, like we
Dubs.
always do.
Throw the
And
dubs
you know
up.
that you got to close us out like we always do, because that's how we end every show, baby.
That's it, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease, man. Rebels with a cause. And you know what? You got to tell them the rest there, Jay.
Because remember, guys, it is Rebels with a cause, but that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero.
There you go. We out.
We
Peace.
out. Peace.